If we're a little slow to get the point that we need to make a change, if we are stagnant in a situation and we are not seeing the light of truth or the light of day, or we are holding ourselves back, getting in our own way, holding up the unfolding of our life, then our soul and life have ways to catalyze us for us to stop, question, see things differently, make a shift, and get the energy moving in our lives in more ease and flow, potentially in a new direction, but certainly from a new position of clarity and higher awareness within ourselves. And so what can look like challenges or look like chaos or look like a crisis or look like the death of things in our life can often be what I call the spiritual squeeze. And the spiritual squeeze puts us on our knees and it makes us stop and question. It breaks our ego construct momentarily. It brings us into a deep state of surrender, and it has deep spiritual purpose.
You're listening to Practical Spirituality with B, the podcast with spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment and magic. I'm Bernadette Logue, you can call me B, and I'm excited to share this episode with you.
Hello lovelies, welcome to this episode of Practical Spirituality with B. We are going to be talking about what I call the spiritual squeeze when life puts you on your knees. Recorded for you with great passion, having been through this myself multiple times, but one particular time, which would probably be, actually it's going to be about 2 years ago, 18 months, 2 years ago. And this was actually a profoundly painful time and such a profoundly impactful, transformative, catalytic, alchemizing time in my life. And I can see so clearly how and why that happened for me. And I can see often for clients and people in my community how and why those moments are happening for them, where their soul and life and source and all that is the wiser, higher intelligence that is underpinning our lives is pushing us into a situation where we will stand up and see things differently, where we will wake up and we will stop avoiding or stop charging down a path that isn't right for us, or stop sleepwalking through our life, or stop avoiding responsibility, or just simply sometimes to prompt us to recognize and realize something else powerful, magnificent, and magical about ourselves or about our life and what we're here for. So I've got lots to share with you about this. So if you are experiencing challenges, if you are experiencing crisis, chaos, confusion, if it feels like life is melting down around you, if you are noticing death as in the destruction, dissolution, or endings of jobs, career, businesses, relationship, health situation, financial. It could be literal death going on around you, loss, grief. Then I want you to look at that going on in your life from the perspective of what I call the spiritual squeeze, and just see if it's resonant. You'll know inside yourself if this is what you're going through. Maybe it's something you've been through in the past, or maybe someone you love is going through this. And certainly when you understand this, if it happens in the future, there will be a greater level of peace and grace within the difficulty of such a situation, to recognize the purpose that such painful situations have in our journey from a spiritual perspective. So first of all, painful times in our lives do have purpose. And it's not that we must suffer in order to get something enlightened. That's not what it's about. It's the fact that as human beings, we get really comfortable and we typically will avoid anything painful and we will seek for comfort and pleasure and familiarity. And bottom line is, we didn't come here to sit stagnant. We came here for an evolutionary experience in a world of duality. We came for contrast and to be able to have learning, healing, growth and contribution inside this thing we call life, which is our soul's journey. We've come here to play with life. And if we get too comfortable, then we don't really learn and we don't really grow and we don't really heal and we don't really contribute. We kind of sleepwalk through our days a bit robotically and a bit on autopilot. And when we get prodded and poked by life and things get a little uncomfortable, is usually a huge catalytic moment for us to have what we came here for, which is, like, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? What's going on? What do I need to learn in this moment? How am I going to heal from this? How am I going to make a contribution? And so life has mechanisms called challenge, chaos, and crisis. And those experiences are unavoidable. You cannot go through life being human and not have those types of things happen to you and for you. Notice, to you and for you. Happening for you at certain periods of your life. That doesn't mean you have to have a life filled with chaos, crisis, and challenges, but hardly can you go through decades and decades of being human without having a little of those things happen, because life is colourful. And so those situations, they shake you from your stagnancy, right? You know that. You can't be stagnant when those things are happening, because they make you stop and question, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? What's going on? What does this mean? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? How do I need to deal with this? What is life about? It's bringing you to all sorts of really life-opening questions. And the reason I call it spiritual squeeze is when it's a really painful situation, that's what it feels like. Like for me, it felt like being squeezed within an inch of my capacity to cope with the number of things that were rapidly changing and being thrown up in the air as if I didn't know which way was left, right, up or down. It can feel like you're being put in a vice. It can feel like you're in a pinch. It can feel like you're being backed into a corner, or your back is up against the wall, or that you're down on your knees. And often in those situations, what we will do is we'll throw our hands up in the air. If we're in a spiritual pathway, we'll often begin to meditate, pray. You know, sometimes we can feel very desperate. We can feel like we might be begging life for answers. But you do not need to be on your knees, and you do not need to beg, because you are life itself. You are the divinity that you are asking for help from. You are the source. You are the wisdom. You are the love. You are one with everything. There is only oneness. So what you pray to is you. You are God in a body. You are Creator made manifest. You are the universe embodied in human form. And so we will be at times down on our knees or hiding under the duvet covers in our bed. We will sometimes be crying. We will sometimes be beside ourselves, distraught or overwhelmed with the things that go on in our life. But we need to take a moment, and I'm going to give you the 3 C's, okay? The 3 C's for how to deal with this situation. But in those moments, we become very raw. Our ego construct gets triggered and it flares up, but it often breaks open. So I want you to think about the fact that if something is going on in your life that's really squeezing you, crisis or challenge, I want you to think, this is trying to catalyze me. This is a catalyst for a positive shift inside me, inside my circumstances, or inside my life, okay? Number 1, why is this happening? Something is trying to catalyze me, or my situation, or my life. Maybe I'm not doing it for myself. Maybe I can't see what it is. Maybe I don't understand, or maybe I do. But this is happening for me, not to me. The next thing is I want you to understand that when we get squeezed like this, put on our knees, backed into a corner, we don't know what's going on, we're feeling abandoned, we're feeling really stressed. Why is everything falling apart? You want to know that if this thing is happening for me, and if this thing is catalyzing a change in me, my life situation, or life in general, then it's going to do that through the mechanism of death and rebirth. Okay, so life is constantly cycling like the seasons of nature, and it goes birth, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, and it's happening constantly. Okay, so it's happening on a micro level inside this lifetime you're having. So you have things coming and going, dying, reborn, experiencing jobs, business, relationships, people coming and going. But then on a macro level, your own oversoul or your higher self is incarnating lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Birth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, life, death. So this is the cycle from a universal divinity point of view, in the no thing, in the oneness, in the singularity of energy, divine intelligence that you are and that you belong to, where we do not have bodies, we do not have names, we do not have personalities, we are one with the energy of life itself. That oneness is an ever-moving, ever-ebbing, flowing experience. It is an evolutionary impulse, and it is constantly moving in the cycle of ebb and flow for evolution. So that is the impulse that is within you. So it is going to happen at the soul level for many lifetimes. It is also going to happen inside your lifetime for many life, death, rebirth cycles. So jobs come and go, relationships, some of them come and go, some of them are for a lifetime. But there's all these macro and micro ways that it plays out. So when something is falling apart, when something is not working, when it feels like a crisis and challenge and chaos, and it is catalyzing something in your life, you want to know that it is coming to break open, break down, shatter, shift, question, or have die away something that no longer serves you. We as humans want to cling on because we think we know what we want and need. But I want this job, I want this relationship, I want this situation, I want this familiarity. You want it in your human self at the level of your personality, what I call the small self, or your ego's clinging onto it for whatever reason, to avoid pain and to keep the familiarity. But just because part of your personality self thinks you want it does not mean that your soul needs it, and does not mean that your soul wants it. And so there's a great point in the spiritual squeeze where we enter spiritual surrender to say, I do not know what this is for. I do not know what anything is for, but I am opening in this breaking open, in this breakdown. I am breaking open. I am choosing to let go. I am not going to cling on, because I do not know the bigger picture. I can only see from my tunnel vision with my blinkers on down here in my small pinpoint view of reality from my mind and my past and my present. And I do not know what the bigger picture of my life is. But I know if it's happening, if this, whatever this thing is that's squeezing me is happening, then it's happening for a very good reason. It is not happening randomly. And so it's this surrendering to say, I will willingly go where this is taking me. If this is putting me on my knees, something beautiful and miraculous is about to happen. If this is shattering my construct of everything I thought was certain in my life, then I will willingly let go, knowing I can't control it and it's already breaking down and dissolving, knowing that something beautiful is about to be seeded and born in my life. That if it looks like everything is breaking down in my life, that I will remember, I will have remembrance that breakdown is truly the dissolution ready for breakthrough, for something new to be born and come together. That all death is a natural cycle, making space for a beautiful rebirth. That does not mean it's not painful. That does not mean it's not challenging and confusing, but you can hold grief and challenge and confusion at the same time as you can hold hope, remembrance, surrender, and a level of peace and faith and trust. Because on the other side of shattering, breaking open, breaking down, death, questioning, is rebirth, remembrance, reorganization of energy in your life, revelation and reframe, which means you are going to come into a new level of reconnection to who you really are. to the source from which you come, to why your soul is here, and to what life is trying to catalyze you into. And you might know, you might be like, well, this job, I actually hate it and it sucks and I'm not really digging it and I haven't been willing to get up and move. And now life has taken it from me. Or that might not be what's happening at all. It might be that your most beloved person in your life has died and you don't understand why. And you don't want that and they didn't want that. And yet here you are in a season of death and loss and grief, having to now look at your life and find a new season and a new chapter. Or it might be that you're having a financial crisis. Or it might be that some friendship is experiencing great challenges, or whatever it might be. And it can be really hard in the pinpoint, narrow perspective of our human selves to look at a situation and to understand why on earth it would be happening. But what it does is it makes you question. And when you ask really wise and beautiful and open-hearted questions, your life can start to reformulate. Remember? Remembrance, rebirth, reformulation, reorganization, revelation, and reframe. The result when this happens, where stuff starts to change around you or in you, you're cornered, feeling abandoned, pressured, you have this breakdown and there is about to be rebirth, is that you cannot be the same on the other side of it. You cannot go from being comfortable in your life, going through a spiritual squeeze, and then be the same on the other side. That's the whole point. It catalyzes you so you believe differently, think differently, feel differently, look at your life differently, choose differently, behave differently, act differently, and your life starts to go in a different direction. Not because your life was necessarily not good before. That's not what it's about. It might have been not good, might have been quite beautiful. But the point is your soul is here for evolution. And sometimes we have to be catalyzed into a new season or chapter for what we came here to learn, heal, grow with, and contribute as part of our soul plan and purpose. So here are the 3 C's for you, my lovely. What do you do when you're in these situations? At a high level, number 1, you need to get calm. You cannot navigate through difficult times when you are in fight, flight, freeze, appease mode, when your entire physiology is completely scrambled. Okay? Number 2, you need to get in community. It is absolutely chaotic trying to go through a spiritual squeeze on your own. Now, a community can be 1 person, it can be 2 people, or it could be 200. But when I went through my spiritual squeezes, you better believe I was not alone in that. I reached out to the ones that I knew would be able to understand and help me. And like one of the people that I reached out to when I was in one of my spiritual squeezes was basically almost a complete stranger who I formulated a friendship with because I sensed that person was able to mentor me, because I sensed, and I was right, was when I asked them, they had been through this before. Okay? So you trust who life puts in your path, you trust your intuition, and you open your heart and you reach out. And by the way, when you're in a spiritual squeeze, the one thing you want to do is crawl in a hole and be alone. You want to crawl under the bed covers and not get out. And you cannot do that. Okay? Life is trying to catalyze you. You need to get out of bed. You need to reach out. You need to tell people how you're feeling. You need to tell the right people. You need to get in community, because that is what is going to wrap you up with the wisdom and the support and the love to lift you out of the spiritual squeeze, to help catalyze you into this rebirthing chapter that you're in. And then the 3rd C is you need to change your come from position, meaning when you are in any situation in your life, you have a come from perspective. So if your come from perspective is pessimism and negativity, and this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me and I can't get out of this, then that come from position is going to literally run you, and you are going to get more of the same. You need to change your come from position to be one of optimism, hope, faith, trust. You need spiritual perspectives that are going to help you move through this time, okay? If you need help with any of these things, this is what I can support you with, okay? This is all the kind of work that I do. So I'm going to tell you about some of the ways that I can support you in a minute. But number 1 for calm, You want to think about using diaphragmatic breathing. You want to think about using meditation. You want to think about using EFT, which is meridian acupressure tapping. Very powerful for calming your brain, your body out of fight-flight response into a relaxation response, reducing the stress reaction inside of you. Number 2, community. It is not about quantity, it's about quality. So at least find one person who's trusted, who you can reach out to, who you can share with, who can help you to navigate, okay? And then number 3, changing your come from perspective, is you need to provide loving leadership to your mind. Your mind is not going to go to a new place as a new come from position on its own. You have to choose perspectives that are going to serve you, and then you have to nourish consistently and repetitively on a daily basis your mind with the kinds of spiritual powerful messages, positive affirmations, statements of truth that are going to lead you and guide you through this time, so that life will and your soul will catalyze you, but you can make it go faster and more painlessly by getting into the equation and participating proactively. We are either going to surrender, let go and participate, or we're going to be dragged through the situation until we get it, okay? So here are some of the ways that I can help you. Number 1, at the time of releasing this, which I think is the 18th of February, I have spaces available for March for one-on-one private coaching with me in a 1-month package where I will work one-on-one with you for a full month in private Zoom sessions, video Zoom sessions face-to-face, and unlimited email and coaching support via Messenger. So if you're interested in having private one-on-one with me, you can email to support@bernadettelogue.com, support@bernadettelogue.com, and put in the subject line, squeeze. Okay, and then I will know that you're experiencing a spiritual squeeze, and I will reply back to you with all the information for coaching, availability, pricing, details, so that you can make an informed and confident decision. The second way that I can help you, which will also give you the calm, the community, and the changing your come from position, and everything you need, including all the spiritual foundations, not just for a chaos crisis situation, but for all areas of your life and seasons, is come and join the Soul Odyssey program with me. If you're going to come and join that, which is a comprehensive personal growth and spiritual development program, self-paced but with 12 months live support with me, monthly group Zoom coaching, and an amazing, beautiful community. If you're going to come and join me off the back of this podcast, what I want you to do is join in and then email me, and in the subject line you're going to write let go. And if you email me and you're joining Soul Odyssey and you write let go in the subject line, I'm going to gift you my Let Go, Let Be, Let God course. It's like a mini series, and it's really powerful about the whole process of surrender and going with the flow. And that's going to be an extra bonus for you alongside joining Soul Odyssey. And Soul Odyssey is epic. Okay, it's an 11-chapter journey helping you to understand the A to Z of your entire life, from your soul plan and purpose, and how to navigate all of the ins and outs of life, your mind, your emotions, your relationships, money, goals, decision making, you name it. And it is power packed with grounded, practical, psycho-spiritual resources for creating really transformational change for you. So I look forward to hearing from you. You're either going to be coming and joining me for one-on-one coaching, email support@bernadettelogue.com, subject squeeze. If you're joining Soul Odyssey, you can just go and enroll right now. Go to bernadettelogue.com, click program on the top menu, get yourself enrolled, flick me an email, support@bernadettelogue.com, and just put let go in the subject line, and I will instantly add the let go mini series to your members area account as a bonus gift for you, knowing that you listen to this podcast and that you're an awesome action taker. So that's my pleasure to gift it to you. And it's been wonderful to be here with you. I send my love to you wherever you are in the world. I look forward to supporting you further. And I'll see you next week for the next episode of Practical Spirituality with B.
Thanks for listening to Practical Spirituality with B. I'll talk to you next episode for more spiritual advice for your everyday life. helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic.